Disturbing things. Archaeologists regret digging up. Let's get right into it. They dug for history and found nightmares instead. From cursed tombs to screaming mummies, these are the discoveries that made archaeologists wish they'd left the past buried. Number 8. The Screaming Mummies of Guanajuato. If you ever thought mummies were peaceful, elegant reminders of ancient glory, well, meet the ones that look like they died mid-horror movie. In the mid-1800s, in the town of Guanajuato, Mexico, archaeologists stumbled upon a crypt full of naturally mummified bodies. And here's the part that haunts your dreams. Most of them have mouths frozen wide open, as if they died screaming. The bodies were preserved by accident. The dry climate sucked out moisture so fast the corpses basically turned into leathery jerky. But when archaeologists first cracked open those tombs, they didn't know that. They thought they'd found evidence of a mass torture ritual or plague horror. Turns out some of these people might have been buried alive during a cholera outbreak when doctors couldn't tell if victims were actually dead. So yes, the mummies' screaming faces weren't just creepy, they might have been real. The museum that now displays them claims the expressions were caused by dehydration, but the psychological damage to anyone who unearthed them? Permanent. Imagine dusting off a 19th century coffin only to find someone's final expression of raw terror staring back at you. Archaeologists who worked there reportedly had nightmares and even refused to return. Moral of the story, some tombs don't need unlocking, especially the ones that still look like they're trying to warn you to leave. Number 7. The Terracotta Army's Cursed Tomb Picture. This. You open an ancient tomb expecting dusty relics, and instead find an entire army of life-size soldiers silently waiting in the dark. That's exactly what happened in 1974 when Chinese farmers accidentally uncovered the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, guarded by over 8,000 terracotta warriors. Cool, right? Until you realize the archaeologists who went in soon started dropping like flies. See, the tomb was sealed for over 2,000 years, meaning it had trapped ancient air, heavy metals, and unknown bacteria. Many workers reported dizziness, headaches, and chronic illness after prolonged exposure. Add to that the psychological effect of walking through endless ranks of silent clay soldiers in pitch-black tunnels, and you've got a full-blown anxiety cocktail. Oh, and the emperor's actual burial chamber? It's never been opened, because according to historical records, it's filled with rivers of mercury. Scientists scanned the area and confirmed massive mercury deposits in the soil. Translation: open that chamber, and you might as well breathe liquid poison. It's both brilliant and terrifying. The first emperor of China not only conquered nations, but weaponized his own tomb. Archaeologists now refuse to excavate further until technology can guarantee safety. So, for now, the world's deadliest art installation remains sealed, watching, waiting, and definitely judging anyone who thinks they can outsmart a 2,000-year-old booby trap. Number 6. The Tomb of the Unknown Priestess. In 2015, archaeologists in Siberia unearthed a tomb so well preserved it looked like someone had just finished decorating it yesterday. Inside was a woman dressed in ceremonial furs, surrounded by intricate tools, metal mirrors, and, wait for it, a pouch full of frog bones. At first, they thought she was a shaman or healer, but the deeper they dug, the weirder it got. Some of the bones were charred, others arranged in patterns that didn't match any known ritual. When researchers ran tests, they found traces of mercury and arsenic in her burial site, both deadly poisons. It's believed she was an oracle of some kind, practicing medicine, divination, and maybe even ritual sacrifice. What freaked out the archaeologists, though, was the energy of the site. Equipment malfunctioned, cameras died, compasses spun uselessly, and the ground temperature around her body was inexplicably warmer than surrounding soil. Scientists chalked it up to chemical reactions, but local workers refused to return after claiming they heard whispers when alone near the tomb. It's one of those finds that forces you to question where science ends and superstition begins. They set out to learn about her, and instead, she became the one studying them. Number 5. The Plague Pit of London. You think your job is stressful? Try opening a hole in the ground and finding 20,000 corpses staring back at you. That's what happened when archaeologists in London stumbled on a mass grave during subway construction, an entire pit of plague victims from the 1600s. The smell alone reportedly made workers gag through respirators. But the real panic came when scientists realized some of the bacteria in those bones might still be viable. Imagine unsealing a biohazard from the Middle Ages, because technically that's what they did. Samples were immediately quarantined and everyone involved was tested. The fear wasn't just infection, it was resurrection. If the plague bacteria reactivated, congratulations, you've just rebooted the Black Death. Even after years of decontamination, some workers refused to go near the site. One team member said it felt wrong, like the ground itself didn't want to be disturbed. Modern lab analysis confirmed at least one new genetic strain of Yersinia pestis, the plague bacterium, hiding in those remains. Number 4. The Lovers of Modena. Skeletons with secrets. Picture this. 2 skeletons buried hand in hand, locked in eternal affection. When archaeologists uncovered them in Modena, Italy, in 2009, the find was instantly romanticized. Star-crossed lovers, headlines gushed. A tragic tale of love beyond death. Except, when scientists later tested the bones, both skeletons turned out to be male. Cue the collective awkward silence of everyone who'd already written their poetic think pieces. That's when the real mystery began. Were they brothers, soldiers, lovers who defied social norms 1,500 years ago? No one knows. And that's what makes it both touching and unnerving. Their bones were unusually well preserved, but the soil showed signs of being deliberately disturbed centuries after burial, suggesting someone knew about them and tried to hide or protect the grave. For the archaeologists, it was a jarring emotional whiplash. One moment you're basking in the beauty of ancient romance, the next you're staring at an unsolved mystery buried under centuries of secrecy. Some workers even described the site as too intimate to touch, like intruding on a private moment frozen in time. It's a haunting reminder that bones tell stories, but not always the ones we expect. Sometimes, history whispers through silence, and you just have to accept that some love stories don't fit into neat little boxes or gender categories. Number 3. The Dancing Plague Mass Graves. Imagine digging through medieval soil and finding dozens of skeletons tangled together, knees bent, spines twisted, arms locked mid-motion, as if they died dancing. That's exactly what archaeologists found in Strasbourg, France, while investigating the infamous Dancing Plague of 1518. If you've never heard of it, the Dancing Plague was a real event where hundreds of people reportedly couldn't stop dancing for days. Some collapsed from exhaustion, others died mid-jig. It sounds ridiculous, like history's weirdest flash mob, but chroniclers at the time described entire streets filled with frenzied dancers who couldn't control their bodies. When archaeologists uncovered the supposed burial site centuries later, they expected a simple plague pit. Instead, they found skeletons positioned as though still moving, no signs of restraint, no evidence of forced positioning, just eerie contortions frozen forever. Theories range from ergot poisoning, hallucinogenic mold on rye bread, to mass psychogenic illness. Basically, collective hysteria so powerful it killed people. But there's something deeply disturbing about unearthing that aftermath. One researcher said the bones seemed alive, as if their energy hadn't stopped moving. Rationally, it's just decomposition. Emotionally, it's like cracking open a time capsule of madness. And if mass hysteria could literally dance people to death, maybe we don't need curses. We just need collective burnout and bad bread. Number 2. The Dagon Mound Mystery Skulls. In the 1920s, archaeologists excavating an ancient temple mound near Ashkelon, Israel, thought they'd found another typical Philistine site. Pottery, tools, decorative relics, standard stuff. But beneath the ceremonial floors, they hit something no one expected: dozens of infant skulls. At first, they assumed mass burial or disease, but the arrangement was too precise. Each skull placed deliberately in a ring around the temple foundation. Tests later revealed the bones belonged to babies no older than a few months. Even more disturbing, their skulls bore marks consistent with intentional death. For years, scholars argued over what this meant. Was it ritual sacrifice to the god Dagon, a burial offering, or just a grim coincidence? No one can agree. Some researchers quit the project entirely, saying the site had a heavy atmosphere that left them sick for days. Locals refuse to go near it after dark. Science gives explanations, but not comfort. The skulls remain locked away, and the excavation notes are still restricted. It's one of those finds that makes even the most hardened archaeologist pause and think, maybe some history should stay buried. Number 1. The Cursed Tomb of the Black Pharaoh. Egyptologists live for big discoveries, until they realize their find might also be a death sentence. In 1998, a French team unearthed a tomb in Sudan believed to belong to Espelta, one of the Kushite black pharaohs of ancient Nubia. The tomb was beautifully preserved, gold amulets, obsidian artifacts, and inscriptions warning trespassers of the breath of death. Naturally, they ignored it. Because science. Within months, several members of the team fell gravely ill. One died of a mysterious infection that doctors couldn't identify. Equipment failed, storage rooms flooded, and local workers refused to touch anything connected to the dig. The media called it the new Tutankhamun's curse, though scientists blamed spores of toxic mold sealed inside the tomb. Still, even the rational explanation didn't help much when one archaeologist claimed his dreams were haunted by a dark figure standing at the tomb's entrance. He left archaeology altogether afterward. Whether it's mold, coincidence, or something we just don't understand, one thing's for sure. Some warnings written in stone are probably worth listening to, because when ancient kings promise doom to whoever disturbs them, maybe, just maybe, they mean it. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.